What's going on, guys? We're going to be watching the current rank 1 Syndra player who has a 76% win rate over 50 games on the Korean solo ladder right now with 1700 LP. In terms of runes and everything else, you'll be seeing that flashing on your screen. Minion DMAT being taken specifically for wave clear. And regarding the matchup, we have a Graves versus Viego. Information has been traded level 1, so this is kind of a matchup where you would want to push for priority or make sure that you're able to move if necessary. And you're kind of seeing that with the way that they're autoing the wave so much and taking a little bit of damage there, but not really a big deal. See that he's going for the Q whenever Ahri has no cooldowns. Pretty free opportunity to get some damage in, but both of them hitting the wave incessantly, just trying to get the wave equalized as much as they can. And getting some free chip damage in, very nice spacing on that. And in terms of CS, I think we are currently down 1, but C-Pod versus D-Ring means that there is a little bit more utility in favor of start 12, especially in the early trading just because you get more damage out of it, but D-Ring is such a strong scaling item as well. Ahri does hit level 2 first, which does give a slight advantage, but immediately hitting 2 for Syndra as well. And realistically now we can start actually stacking splinters if given the opportunity to do so, and we are actually seeing a Graves invade here, so interesting to see what will happen as a result of this. Looks like not even moving, doesn't even see the play happening on the right side here. And Graves just disengaging here, looks like actually just allowing Graves to walk through as well, even with the Zyra coming in for the bot side. So I can't actually tell if this is intentional or if this is just not paying attention to the screen. I would assume that the rank 1 player would be looking at this information, so you can only kind of assume that they're not moving because they'd rather just maintain mid-tempo. But really awful start for red side here just because they're putting so much pressure onto the Viego, making it hard for him to farm. And actually tied in camp gold at least. Unfortunately, just down a level for jungle. But first minion DMAP being used on both sides, matching the wave push. There's really no way they're going to be able to contest the crab anyways, so I don't think it really matters as much besides just slowing down the push here. But a really massive trade coming in from start 12, and really bad EQ there. Not able to find the splinter either. This is fine at all things considered, just because you're able to immediately TP back in. The major concern here is that if you get Charm flashed or trade flash for flash, it's definitely not in favor of Syndra. And I'd even say this is extremely greedy, if all things considered. Giving them the opportunity to kill you is really bad, especially on a scaling champion like Syndra, just because you need to hit that early power spike. Would not be surprised if we saw her zoned off this way for your Charm flash any second now. But it looks like Start knows that this is kind of what's being expected or baited, so waiting for the cannon wave isn't the worst idea, but you see the minion DMAT on the cannon from Ahri is such a huge play here because it kind of forces a scenario where you're going to lose something, at least. And once again, canceling the recall, Viego pathing the mid lane though. And really confusing gameplay so far. This is really inconsistent game, but look at the CS, 34 on Ahri. And almost perfect CS on Syndra's side as well. And this is kind of such a huge difference between us average and bad players in North America. Is that I will not have anything near this CS with this much action going on, 34 to 34. And immediate D-Ring and Dark Seal. So interesting purchase from Ahri just because it gives you so much immediate combat stats. The issue here is that it doesn't necessarily progress your mythic item whatsoever. But I guess that's fine because look at how much immediate value the Ahri has. She can easily 2v2 here with the combat stats. And we're seeing a Amp Tome and Dark Seal here from Syndra as well, opting for additional 2 pots and a control ward. Just have a little bit extra utility, make sure that if you make some mistakes, you have a way to heal it back at least. And just keep in mind here that this is Unsealed Spellbook versus the First Strike, so Syndra has pretty much full scaling runes, so playing the game extremely slow or at least hitting mid-game without dying is pretty much her win condition. Because they do have a very strong team composition with Fiora, Varus, Viego, and Syndra all hitting mid-game spikes extremely hard. The impetus I'd say would be more on the side of Graves Ahri making something happen on the map. They do have some pretty decent teamfight setup with the Rakan and Seraphine, but I don't think it's going to be consistent enough if they don't find anything. But you'll see that the wave has basically been on Syndra's side for pretty much 80% of this lane, and that's just because we're slowing down the wave by equally matching those autos. And it does make it a little bit difficult for Ahri to farm consistently or farm safely, knowing that there is possibility being ganked. But putting a lot of pressure on this cannon, getting an amazing trade off of this. Within our Q, this is 100% kill. But it looks like expecting the ult. Okay. So really interesting segue here. So you see the fact that if we get our ball in the combo, it's 100% kill potential, right? But the thing is, the Ahri also knows that, which is why she's waiting for the Q to go forward before ulting it. And it just turns out being this really, really smooth play from Syndra here. Like, look at this. Perfect execution, takes advantage of the cannon right here that you see, forcing the trade, and then continuing the path forward here. Most players would back away after the trade, but following through with the execution, slowing down the tempo. And I'm kind of surprised that there was no ultimate or flash from the Ahri, but just really, really greedy performance. Really well executed by Syndra player. Well done. And this is going to be a huge play just because there is no TP available for Ahri, which now means that this is basically a 600 gold swing, right? You get 1 kill, which is 300. You deny 2 waves worth of CS, which is another 250. And then you're also getting a wave on Syndra here, which is another 125. So really massive gold swing in the mid lane, going from 2k to 2.6 off of that. Now, Graves does catch the wave, which is a very good thing for blue team here. But it doesn't change the fact that Ahri is extremely far behind in this lane now. Completed Lost Chapter for Syndra. Boots acquired for Ahri makes it a little bit easier to dodge these skill shots. But I think with the trend here, I just don't think that Ahri is able to really contest the wave with Syndra playing so aggressively on some of these timings for the last hit windows. But 2 stacks or 2 splinters off from 40 here, which is going to be the upgraded Q. And this is where Syndra really starts to shine, is with additional access. Because having multiple dark spheres makes it so much easier to combo, but also be versatile in the way that you approach these trades. Because initially, if you miss your Q, you're not really able to follow up with E that easily. But you can definitely make it easier to land when you have 2 access points there. But Graves sitting in the offside here. Being patient here is the best play. A lot of players would run up to meet this wave and start chunking at it. But this wave is guaranteed to push into the Syndra here, so just allowing it to push into you is good. Now, this does mean that Ahri does have a roam angle, but you take a look at what's happening on the map. Fior's under tower, bot lane's recalling. There's really nothing to be concerned about here. There is the potential for a roam invade here from the Ahri, but it does look like she's taking advantage of this opportunity to look for a roam timer. You see her running bottom right now. And it is pinged out by Syndra here. It's a little bit late, but honestly, this is something that should have been expected from the moment that wave crashed. So I'd be very, very disappointed if they actually find a double kill bottom here. And immediately pushing in the mid lane, we have full vision of the Ahri here, so like taking plates is a really good idea just because it's the 100% guaranteed consistent play. It looks like they're looking for the 2v1 collapse here, but I think this was a pretty bad waste of time from Syndra. Nice EQ and really insane damage chunk there. And the cool thing is this is always generating money from first strike, but it's also putting pressure onto Ahri now because anytime a EQ connects, or QE connects rather, she can threaten kill pressure because she has access to ultimate now. And you see her looking for the angle there, but if she gets that Q off and adds another ball into her combo, that's essentially a 5 to 6 ball ult, which is doing a significant amount of damage. And both supports on reset, heading straight in the mid lane here, pretty standard roam timer. And just getting vision around the lane makes it very easy for Syndra to play aggressively here. And we should look to maybe get a dragon off this, but really sick engage here on the bot side of mid lane. And immediate follow-up. Not so superb gameplay coming in here. And kind of surprising turn of events. It was basically expected that both supports would be heading the mid lane. They just didn't have enough damage to kill the Graves there. And it kind of just resulted in a double for the enemy team, which is really insane for them because they need to make plays happen early with this composition. And great CC follow-up. Nice kill by Varus. And lots of gold going on to blue side here, bot lane at least. Now, unfortunately, our Syndra's dead, so the reason why it's so bad to die as a mid lane, or any role for that matter, is because that's 20 to 30 seconds where you're not able to find CS, which is golden experience, and it does put you slightly behind. We recognize that we had a 600 gold prior off of that solo kill, and most of our gold is still there. We have a 500 gold lead, but the issue is that we could be up probably 900 gold right now if we had not died there, or if we had just played the game a little bit slower. We got an insane amount of gold from the first strike, had a lot of pressure in the mid lane. I think that doing the dragon there was a significantly better idea, even with Varus in base, just because you can at least take advantage of the Syndra power lane. I think that forcing the 3v3, or 2v2 rather, was just really ill-timed. Now, TP is available if they do want to fight for Rift Herald, but it's going to go over This is also fine because you're trading Rift Herald in exchange for at least 1 or 2 plates bot side. Red side could have also opted to maybe play for a tower or dragon if they knew they were going to lose the objective anyways. They didn't have access to Varus COC or the Zyra combo, so it just probably wasn't the best play to look for it in the first place. But some gold going back on the Syndra. Once again, you see that this gold lead is picking up again now that we're getting solo CS committed. And opting here to go back, really not too much to purchase here. Unfortunately, Magical Footwear is kind of a cuck until she uses these 2 potions. But ideal reset here would be either at 700 to sell Amp Tome for Ludens, or just wait until Ludens. And you don't really need to rush it because you're just kind of waiting on the next team fight anyways. But looks like some action happening topside the map. But currently, really awkward combo. This actually hurts to watch. So it was kind of the right idea. You want to make sure that you're slowing down the tempo. There's this much distance between her and tower, so leading with a Q and then doing another QW and then trying to land a stun off of that and then find a committed, like, extended ult combo is your best bet for getting the maximum amount of DPS. But Seraphine with some really quick movement and really great ultimate. If you get CC'd on a tower, that is actually disgusting. Good flush. Really unfortunate that that was even a possibility in the first place, but Syndra is on death watch this game for 76% win rate. Kind of a lot of mistakes that we've been seeing here, just either not being focused or just really inconsistent with the way that she's been playing these combos. Macro has been pretty much on point though, besides the whole debacle at level 2 and not rotating into that mid collapse. But immediately TPing mid here, and this is really just to stop the Rift Herald from taking a full tower. This is to deny as much gold. And a really nice follow-up. Unfortunately, stopwatch is destroying a lot of that damage output. And cooldown's coming up. Nice WQ, huge damage. And look at the placement on that E, that was gorgeous. Instead of moving forward to minimize space, just running straight left side to get a max range E off the existing ball. Really unfortunate that they didn't find the kill, but really nice execution of Syndra combo right there. And again, just generating splinters, we do have access to the true damage on W now, which is really nice. And starting to find our way in with these combos now that we're a little bit more angry, I would suspect. But Ludens is completed, and with Cosmic Insight gives a lot of access. Unfortunately, the reduced CC with Tenacity on Rakan Merc Treads. I'm not a big fan of the E-Change just because I feel like everyone jumps out of your WQ combo at the last second with how much Tenacity is readily available. But overall changes to Syndra have been fantastic, all things considered. Anyways, Dragon is exchanged, and pretty good play to begin with. Like, the MR is very valuable against this team just because they do have triple AP. And I kind of like this play, waiting for the Ahri to commit here, or at least look for vision just because she's pushing in, but QE here, nice stun, really good follow-up. I was kind of expecting the Syndra to lead here just because not giving the opportunity to dodge the Viego W, but just really well done by Viego there. And this is huge because, again, they're taking plates, putting more gold onto the Syndra. A lot of gold has been put onto Syndra this game in comparison to the other players on the map. And again, just generating a lot of money first strike, continuing to generate these splinters at 66 at 13 minutes. I feel like 100 is pretty standard at 22, so she's definitely expedited a little bit on the stacking process. And partially this is just because she hasn't missed any CS compared to average Syndra players in NA. I swear to God, I missed so many cannons on accident. But pretty slow gameplay here. At this point, we do kind of just want to go back and spin this 1.4k gold. I know there's nothing to do right now, but big overextend coming in from blue side here and just finding some additional chip damage in. This is a numbers disadvantage. We do have Viego showing on the top side of the map, so it doesn't really make sense to fight this when you're down players. And they do get punished off of that, losing the Zyra Flash exhaust. And looks like Varus is also going to die here, just really bad. Like, if you know that Graves is making a play on the bottom side of the map, there's no reason to be actively, like, enabling it. So again, something that this Syndra could probably benefit from is just focusing a little bit more about making the consistent play from a macro perspective. And I hate to say this because obviously I'm just backseating this game, hindsight 2020 and all that, but I just feel like this is a little bit underperforming compared to the previous Syndra performance that we had reviewed on this channel. Now, game conditions are a little bit different than the prior ones, so it is of course contextual and a lot of variables. But first, oh my god, second on Banshee's completed at 14 minutes. And still in tier 1 boots, not a huge loss. But this is a really consistent purchase here just because it disables the Seraphine, Rakan, and Ahri engage. I personally find the Ahri matchup a little bit frustrating in the past just because she could basically bypass your range and then all on you. With the mid change, honestly, I just feel like Syndra's a better champion now overall, but it's a very respectful purchase. The magic resist is really good against their team composition, so I don't really mind it. It's interesting how I only see Korean Syndra's build Banshee's second. I never see anyone else build this. But this is 2 for 2, I believe, where we've seen Banshees in Korean solo queue games. Of course, the context has always been correct, and it's not like she's just building it randomly. Accidentally missing the cannon there, unless Leandri's got it, but there's no Leandri's, so... Interesting. And honestly, I can't read Korean, so it's a little bit hard for me to navigate. So the thing is, it's actually my mini-map covering size here that I can't see the objective timers. I can't even tell. Let's see if I can get these showing. There we go. Dragon in 1 minute and 33 seconds. Pushing topside. TP will be available in time for Dragon, so it's not really a big issue for her to be split pushing top. And this is relatively better just because if they kept the Fiora topside to match Aurelia, there would be no way of getting this Fiora down to the bottom side of the map. So this is how you would allot your lanes correctly. So this is good, correct placement. Also immediately in the vicinity of the Rift Herald. And then they can just segue to Dragon immediately afterwards. But queuing just to get the additional ball in the combo has the flank angle. And I would love to look for this just because she does have the angle here and a lot of protection. QE and max range getting a huge chunk on the Aurelia and huge collapse coming in. Massive Zyra E on the backline there. And good amount of damage going through, but the Graves is just so tanky. This is actually ridiculous. Great stun, getting a lot of damage in, and utilizing the back of the wall with the two teammates, putting it at max range. This is such an interesting angle here. And they're actually disengaging because they're not able to bypass. That is so funny. And max range EQ here. And huge damage chunk coming in, the massive amounts of damage. But engaging onto the Zyra, there is no disengage available, and it's just like they're taking this fight, and it's not going the way that they wanted just because they're not able to find the damage onto the right targets. But again, a massive QE. And this is so funny because look at the amount of splinters that she's got at 17 minutes, where it's 94. Such a huge expedite of her passive system. A little bit of a lackluster QE, but really huge over-engage from the Aurelia here. And this is exactly what they need to get back onto the game, honestly. Because they spent so much time making these mistakes, and now they're given the chance back. 2 kills going over, forcing the flash from Seraphine as well. And ladies and gentlemen, that is some pretty interesting gameplay here. 800 gold advantage here for red side, 10-7. Once again, we did talk about the mid-game advantage for Syndra, or Fiora, Viego, Varus. There's no doubt in my mind that they do have the better draft here, provided that they're playing a little bit slower, but immediate TPN, and once again, fight happening on the screen. QE unable to connect here, but nice WQ for some damage in, and a little bit of pressure being applied by the Zyra here. And Dragon is available, but you see in the top lane we've got the Fiora split pushing, so they're at least forcing a response here. So from red side, this is a good compromise, because if you're going to lose the Dragon 100%, you got to make sure that you're exchanging something in value without giving it over for free. Once again, Zyra getting caught out of position, hypothetically here. Face shaking the bush to get vision on this Dragon, even though it was uncontestable to begin with. And huge damage chunk. Finding the Ahri due to the vision that they had in the bush. This is why denial is such an important facet of vision. They have no clue that she's standing in here, and she's just setting up the balls. And again, 106 splinters at 19 minutes. Such a strong performance, and as a result of this, they're actually getting a lot of pressure here on the Dragon. And it's always interesting because these Dragons are a really great way to basically give your team an opportunity to fight when you're ahead. So the fact that blue side hasn't really set these up and has been so lenient with it just makes me feel like they're putting a lot of emphasis onto the top side of the map, even though the Aurelia is down 0-3. An immediate reset in the mid lane here. 4 players being sent to middle. This does put a lot of presence here and allows them to put pressure onto the Baron. But it does mean that they're splitting XP 3 ways. So grouping here isn't necessarily bad for red side, just because they do have the engage potential with max range, Chain of Corruption, as well as Syndra EQ. And it really pains me I see EQ every single time because it's force of habit, but I just need to recognize QE. QE. And we are now actually leaning into the top side, so this is pretty good play here just because you can actually force a tower. They have a good amount of vision here, so if players try to reposition or, you know, walk up in the top side, they can maybe make a pick off of it. That gives them so much control over this Baron area. TP is available for Relia, but looks like a team fight is going to be happening in this vicinity. Huge engage on the backline here as they're walking through with the vision that they set up. Nice QE onto the backline, finding the Graves. And at this point, they can walk away and set up the Baron. They already have the player advantage, but nice engage here coming in from Viego. Massive amounts of damage. And at this point, once again, no Smite available for blue team here, so taking the Baron is the most optimal play. Once again, if the blue side wants to contest this, they have to go for these chokes, and to this team comp is basically suicide. And all this was enabled by the fact that they got presence mid lane, used that presence to go into the top side and get vision, and immediately finding an opportunity off of it and converting that to a Baron. So just really insane group potential right here, and great utilization of red side presence. This is a little bit greedy just because we already have enough money, but she needs 100 more for Void Staff, which is why she's staying. If she didn't want to slow down the tempo of the team, she could just sell the D-Ring and immediately resend the Void Staff. I don't mind being greedy here, but like you have to understand that if you die, you're basically denying your team Baron presence for 50 seconds. So this is a consideration, is if I sell my D-Ring here, my entire team's on the same timer, we can all put pressure on the map immediately, nobody's waiting for me. I just feel like this is a risky play. I love being greedy for the dopamine, but once again, just really, really risky play. It does work out though, and looks like Varus is resetting anyways to finish a third item potentially, or maybe this is like a Last Whisper. Last Whisper collected for Varus. And once again, regrouping here, just trying to get presence, and they do have a lot of vision top side of mid, so playing through top mid would be valid, but we can now reshift our vision to the bot side. And you'll see that basically whichever side of the map the Fuhrer is going towards, they're going to start putting vision in that vicinity. And this is a really strong warding tactic because not only can you make these rotational plays, but you can find picks in the jungle as a result of that. A lot of players will put their wards opposite side of the map that they're playing through. And while it does give a vision and it dies flank angles, I just feel like making gameplay opportunities will always be more valuable. And we could easily find a pick here on the backline. This is a really dangerous choke for the blue side to be walking through. I don't know why they're ever walking through there into a Syndra Varus. No cleanse available, so they would just die near instantly. And looks like we are going to find the tower. We could rotate in the bot side here and force this as a team. Once again, any team fight's a good fight just because we have so much value from the Baron stats. But finding the collapse here onto the bot side, really nice backup engage here. Saving the Fuhrer's life potentially, but this is great because they have a numbers advantage now, and they already have committed a lot of resources on blue side, it looks like maybe. Actually, just kidding, they used absolutely nothing at all. But tier 2 going down bot side, 600 gold in the pocket, as well as another 300 for mid lane. 1200 gold swing just from tower objects alone, but huge engage, nice. Obliterating Syndra in the backline, just a little bit of an overstay here, and converting 2 for 2, and getting a bunch of sums out of this. What a charm, wow, what the fuck. That was near perfect. Unfortunately, I don't think they'll find anything off this, but they're already teleporting in from the side. Really interesting angle here, but looks like they're not going to get anything off of this. Best they could potentially do here is just convert some gold back by taking these tier 3s. Okay, and Zyries have been pretty much phenomenal this entire game. Syndra completing 3 items, Rabadon's on the way here. And pretty significant item advantage as well as gold advantage. 3,000 gold ahead right now. Just absolutely killer. But Syndra once again face checking here. Absolutely no reason to do so. But Syndra TPing in for the mid lane. Massive QE to engage here. And once again being forced to flash away here. A little bit of an overstep, but finding the kill. No stopwatch does make it a little bit difficult to play in these aggressive angles. But this is a really great conversion because now once again they can actually look for an inhibitor, but also the dragon as a result of this. So really well done. I just hope that they actually convert something. Because the last thing you want to do is get these really massive death timers and then just do nothing with it. Worst case scenario, they just recall and then reset the dragon here so they can start stacking these dragons. In terms of gold available, 1,290. Unfortunately, nothing to buy here besides a Mejai's. Might even see it just because of the massive gold advantage that she's got right now. instead opting to sit on that. And honestly, I agree with that just because it's too high risk to go for the Magi's even with a 7-2-3 performance. The cool thing about Magi's is it's pretty much always going to be consistent stat gain. It does suck to sit on 60 AP worth of gold, but the massive advantage of completing this item is just going to definitely outweigh anything we could get from Magi's, because the item progression is more valuable, 100%. Extreme value from that progression. But it looks like we're just setting up some death pushes here, waiting for the enemy team to face check the dragon. And realistically, we can just double back and head into mid lane here and start pushing this wave out. Baron in 2 minutes, so we're probably going to see another jostle around the Baron area. And a lot of vision being committed to the top side of the map, which means that they're going to find a lot of opportunities over there. And QE max range, unfortunately not able to find it, but the protection from Banshees makes it so hard to look for angles onto the Syndra until it's been blown. They do have the ability to red smite it, but Graves being that far out of position would just basically be a death bell. But interesting angle here happening in the backside. Looks like we might even find a massive engage here from the red side. Zyra once again with a nice E engage. And I don't know if that was the Mikhails. That's probably just the Seraphine. Sorry, not Mikhails, the Shirelias. At this point, just hard pushing mid is your best bet because you can force them to respond to the mid lane. I'm surprised that this didn't happen earlier just because you had kind of an idea of where they were on the map and top side. It's not like they're going to be able to threaten any objectives outside that top tier 2, so forcing response and then maybe playing for the inhibitor until they recall would have been the best bet there. But again, this is really just waiting for the Rabadon's death cap to be finished. I believe it's, I don't even remember how much, to be honest. It's 3,600 total, so 1.1k needed, plus 2.5. Math. It's too late, dude. I'm recording this at 1 AM. I'm so sorry. Just know that at 2:30, 2,350, that this is 100%. That was the number I was looking for, 2,350. She has enough, she's recalling. There is no TP available for another 17 seconds, but there's no Baron on the map for 20 seconds, so it should just be an immediate run back in the mid lane. Help Zyra get vision, and then potentially play for vision clear on the Baron here. And really interesting that she's got 644 AP, pretty much one-shot potential. Not even 26 minutes, but really disgusting performance so far. Both in the good and the negatives, honestly. But clearing the vision together with sweepers, and once again, just fighting over the Baron just because that's how they close games out in Korea, looks like. I'm pretty new to the whole commentating other leaders, other regions, rather. But pretty good engage here on Zyra. A pretty tentative positioning from Syndra here, just waiting for an opportunity to find a QE max range. But the issue is now that they get a number disadvantage, but massive chunk out, and hopefully reset for Viego, but what a massive turnaround with the Recon Charm. And able to find a brink under the Banshee's Veil. Forcefully engaging here in the mid lane from Morel King. Really disgusting over engage. Should just be a free kill, but really good shielding. And once again, no smite available for red side, so just doing the Baron here and forcing them to face check. And interestingly enough, I'm 99% confident that if red side plays for this, with their massive range with the Varus and Syndra, they should be able to do it. Unfortunately, queuing the wrong bush, but now that they've got an angle on the Baron, they can basically just slowly get in on them. Good amount of damage going for immediate TP back, and nice riposte here, but engage coming in. Nice execution on Ahri, but E does find its way into Syndra, so a little bit of an overstep here. They do stop the Baron from happening, but unfortunately this is going to force a lot of sums from red side. Baron Smite is available with Viego respawning, so hopefully able to get back in time. Realistically, just stalling this out one more time might make it doable. TP is available in 36 seconds on Syndra, so the goal is really to just stop this from happening. And just absolute chaos this game. What the fuck is happening on my screen right now? Engage in the backline. Fiora going straight on the Graves with a nice two-man coming in from Seraphine. Extreme positioning here. Fiora unfortunately not able to find that many weak spots in the combo. And really subpar re-engage here, but forcing it a little bit too fast, maybe playing the tempo slower would have been more ideal. Hopefully this is like World Finals and this is going to be a steal on the Baron with the Varus Q, but fuck, actually just getting completely annihilated. Flame for you dying here. And Baron should be going over. At this point, 3 death timers, not really able to reset immediately into Dragon.
My god, he's a simp.
Could definitely try to do it, but with the Baron recalls, I just don't think they're going to have enough time to even get in the position for this. And I just realized that I don't have my lights on. Nice. You guys, I'm just... Half the time you can't even see my bear. It's crazy. But pretty much we're just waiting for this dragon play to happen. They do once again have really good scaling potential. I think maybe something that they should try to play a little bit more into is the... Honestly, I just think that they're playing a little bit too much grouped at this point. I think grouping was really great for the objectives that they wanted to do. Of course, playing for Baron positioning is ideal. But maybe play a little bit for the side lanes here just because you do have the winning 2v2. Maybe Graves is just too strong at this point to 2v2. I'm taking a look at the gold lead right now, and 15k to 9k is just a little bit oppressive. But a lot of this gold has been from the last 2 or 3 fights. The game has been slowed down 30 minutes in length. Pretty long, honestly. And they're really just stalling out, because once the Baron disappears, there's a lot less to work with. As long as you prevent an inhibitor from going down. Nice QE attempt, would have been a nice angle to find. Graves is worth a significant amount, but Syra being caught out once again, Tenacity fortunately saving her life. Look at the amount of HP on her, 2.6k. Giving up this tower is perfectly fine just because it means nothing in the long haul. The game only really gets progressed from a win-con perspective when this inhibitor gets taken. But really big engaged trading 1-for-1 here. Rakan in exchange for Fiora. And honestly, this is kind of funny because I feel like it's a worthy trade for red side just because Rakan is so much of their engage, to be fair. Because as long as the Varus and the Syndra are up and the Zyra, it's very hard for this short-range team to get in there and actually get something done. Syndra looking for an off angle here, using the denied vision from this pink ward. And just going to go back to clearing some waves here. In terms of a 6th item, in case of what I'd like to see, honestly, it's probably going to be Zhonya's just for the... It makes it easier to play aggressive angles, knowing that you can get out of a bad situation. We already have the Banshees. Could even go for a Mejai's here for feeling quite quirky. But 2.5k gold, we'll see what ends up being purchased here. And actually just leaving the base. I wonder what item it's going to be. Could even see a Horizon Focus, that'd be pretty interesting, just because the 10% damage amp is so much higher in the late game than it is early game. But 2.7... We really have no way of knowing until it goes through, so... Next objective is going to be Baron or Dragon in 3 minutes, and that's quite a bit far away, so this is typically the time where you'll see players just focus on getting to their next item. So for red side, that's pretty much getting progression on the Zyra second item. They're about to finish the Wit's End maybe on Viego as well. So that's pretty exciting. Let's go and find out what item she decided to go with. If it's a Shadow Flame, I'm gonna laugh. It is a Shadow Flame, okay. Honestly, it's not even bad. It's actually, it's quite meaningful. So the cool thing about Shadow Flame stacking is that you have a ton of flat penetration, which gives you a lot of extra damage. 20 impen at this point. It's a little bit less value just because they have so much MR in the enemy team with Mikhail's, the Merc Treads. It is definitely a damage increase, and you're getting a lot of AP. The number one reason why you would build this is just for the extra AP on Rabadons. The values goes a little bit bonkers. But again, Horizon Focus just giving that 10%, it is negated by MR, so... But if you're doing a 3k damage combo, getting an extra 300 damage from Horizon is pretty meaningful. What the fuck? Dude, are you... What the fuck? Holy shit. Yo, I stand corrected. That was crazy. Shadow Flame is poggers. Oh, that's so fucking bad that they got hit by that. Okay, that is really, really bad. But also really, really great for Syndra here. Massive amounts of AP, 753. That's without Elixir, guys. He'd be at 820 AP with an Elixir right now. Just disgusting amounts of damage. Like, you're getting 200 true damage on a W. Full combo probably doing around 2.3k off of a QEW or QWE. It is insane how much damage we're seeing right now from this Syndra. And going back for the Elixir here, 2.3k gold off of that fight alone, 19,000 gold at 33 minutes. That is a 6,000 gold lead in favor of Syndra. Next objective is pretty much going to be the Baron. At this point, they could give over Soul Point and just go for Baron into a inhibitor. And that makes the game a lot easier just because you have an easy way of progressing the game from that point. Because once you have that one inhibitor down, it puts a lot of pressure on the map from those constant minion push, and you can start splitting again, which is not bad for them. But with the massive deficit, I mean, it's a 2-7 Fiora, a 0-6 Viego. By any means, you could just say that this is a Syndra 1v9. I do think that Varus and Zyra have been playing relatively well, doing a good job. So it's not like it's a total 1v9. But again, just segueing to mid lane here, and the whole point of playing for mid is that you have the most options, because from mid lane, you can either play for Dragon, you can play for mid inhibitor, you can play for Vision through Baron. But you need to make sure you get mid control here. If you go for these jungle choke points, you're just going to lose to Rakan ult or the Seraphine ultimate. It does help to play flank angle here just because you divert their attention two ways, but sometimes you're just going to give them opportunities to find picks, and that's what we're kind of just trying to avoid. If anybody face checks a Syndra here, they basically die instantaneously, so I do like the off angle. I do think that it's a little bit more consistent to just play for mid lane though. And honestly, this is probably a reset from Zyra just to refresh the wards on her warding item, which I think is a good idea just because this Baron play isn't going to be happening anytime soon. So just waiting for Zyra to get back on the map is the easiest way. And once it happens, then we can start to push our vision again. But it looks like Baron has been started. They did have Farsight on it, so they should have a general idea. I'm going to be real with you guys. I didn't pause because they killed Rakan. I was going to pause to say that I've never ever missed, like, as a Syndra player at Baron mid to late game, I don't think I've ever not stolen Baron with Syndra combo. This is 2.5k damage on a fucking, like, near instant cast. If people are doing Baron into a Syndra and don't claim this back wall, you just win it every single time. But back to the game, holy fuck, eviscerating this Rakan. TP coming in, and Aurelia really out of position here. Varus arrow unfortunately able to find, but once again, the protection from this Banshee is making it a little bit easier for Syndra to find an angle, and running behind the enemy team here. This is a really risky play by all things considered. I don't know why I keep saying that, but Charm finding the way onto Zyra, forcing a flash, and honestly they're just trying to force blue team to walk up to this Baron right now because they have so much control with the Varus, so much control with the Syndra. If they try to walk for this choke, they will 100%, I guarantee you, die to Syndra combo. And really, really great Baron here, and at this point they can just walk into the Dragon, get the additional win con. They could definitely start pushing with the Baron, but you have to understand if they make a single mistake, the game progression is going to be hindered completely. So getting this alternative win con with a soul, pretty good. But again, massive amounts of damage, and really nothing to purchase for Syndra at this point, so just doing blue buff and then getting back on the map is the most realistic option. There is gold available for Varus, going to be completing an item hopefully, probably 500 gold off. And grabbing another elixir here, also a valid option. And refreshing elixir has gone through. Okay. This is something you don't see every day. So this Syndra just sold her tier 2 boots in exchange for Horizon Focus. So we're looking at 1052 AP on Syndra at 36 minutes, guys. This is a beyond full build Syndra. This is the slowest Syndra I've ever seen with 330 MS. But the damage potential is fucking nuclear. This is 300 true damage on a W. Full combo doing 1.8 plus 300, so 2.1. 2.1 plus 800, 2.9. 2.9 on a basic combo, assuming that she's penetrating their full comp. And to be honest, I believe she's 100% penetrating at least 3 of these guys. But you see how much MR they've got now at this point. It's kind of crazy. Now, the big downside here is that without tier 2 boots, you're kind of reliant on the enemy team making oversteps or finding people out of position, which it looks like they're probably going to be able to do so in this fight right here. The lack of repositioning can be a sin if you are not able to get out of a bad situation, so it's very important that you set up favorable plays to begin with. So, like, again, playing this off-flank angle, potentially getting fucked up would be a really bad thing, but the split push from Fiora is going to force a response, and once they get a 4v4 angle, I don't really think they have an option here, because without Aurelia, they're kind of reliant on the Ahri, Seraphine, and the Rakan, but I just don't think they can get through the Syndra safely. Like, imagine being blue team here and thinking, I have to make a play happen or my team loses, And if you do make that play, you get one shot instantaneously by 3k damage from a Syndra. It's such a hard barrier to overcome. Because even right there, if that connected, just dead. Like, unironically, just dead. But once again, see the positioning of this game has been basically backline, 6 screens away. Making sure this 1.3, and pretty insane engage coming in here from blue team. Massive engage in the backside. Ultimate burning through the GA though, but it looks like the back end of the fight is going extremely well in their favor. But the damage coming through, massive QE onto the back line. Nice sidestep here, dodging the Rakan W. Superb positioning here, even though getting immediately caught out at the beginning of that fight. It's really hard to avoid the engage there from Rakan, all things. I said it again, feels bad, man. But well executed game, 15-3, 38 minutes. 1052 AP. Only way this game could have been better AP-wise is we have absolute focus and a surrender for the enemy team. Lots of mistakes this game that were pretty entertaining to look at and give you a reference for some mistakes that you might be seeing yourself. This Syndra is rank 1, 1700 LP, 76% win rate in her last 50 games. So maybe it's a relatively new pickup, but interesting game nonetheless to watch, and really strong performance in these team fights. Just crazy. Thanks for watching. If you would like to follow, like, subscribe, please do so. Appreciate it.